Welcome all to the Ramble Report here on the old Unnecessary Rambling YouTube channel. We appreciate you for tuning in. We appreciate you for stopping by to talk the video games. Loon, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad. Um, been on a Chinese kick. Everything this week, well, other than Final Fantasy VII, which I've been playing, but like a lot of Chinese related media. Wukong's coming out, so it kind of like turned my head that way. I've been meaning to pick up some of the books that I think there's four classic novels which are known from like Chinese literature and stuff like that. So I was looking around at them and saw that one of them went on like a deep sell. So I'm actually partially reading through Outlaws of the Marsh. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, got that going. Playing. I don't know if you've probably heard of this, but it was a Game Pass title I think of last year. Sword and Fairy is what it's called.
Uh-uh.
Apparently, it's like a very well known and long running Chinese RPG. I talked about Zhuan Yun Sword I think earlier this year.
Mm,
It's actually by the same developer. They have two IPs that they alternate between. So yeah,
nice.
been on a little Chinese kick.
Chit chow. Nice, man. Yeah, I've been chilling in Sicily for the last little bit. I haven't really played anything after finishing Mafia of the Old Country. I've just been kind of sitting there like, damn, I really don't know where to. I bought fucking Darksiders 1 and 2. And I was
Mm.
like, I think that kind of feels like my next jumping in point. Never played those games. Probably need to. I mean, that seems like probably the biggest series that I've never touched. You know what I mean? Like the one, I don't know if that's 100% true, but it feels like probably the most well-known, I don't know, game in our sphere at least. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
single player, not necessarily all of them single player, but you know what I mean? Games that are narrative driven or action games. I've never played that one, and that seems to be probably one of the more popular ones I've never checked out.
yeah, because it was kind of as well. People didn't really give it its fair look at during release because it was heavily compared to the God of War games at the time.
Hmm.
So people were quite harsh on it, as well as because even Dante's Inferno got quite a lot of harshness thrown its way. Um, I don't. It's the type of thing because you're gonna have the experience I had probably with them because I did the GTA games, that trilogy, and it's like, man, like there's certain things that you could probably overlook if you'd played them at release, so therefore you was exposed to them then. Because when you're going to get to
Hmm.
Darksiders 1, my god, that final third of the game is it's aged terribly. It's the type of thing where
Hmm.
it's like, man, you were being really ambitious, but this is really unfun.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I enjoyed because I did Darksiders 1 I think last year. It's a fun game. Fun game.
I try to keep in mind like the time that it was created and have some sort of understanding of like what was out at that time and compare it more to that than to things of today's standard or whatever. But yeah, it is always difficult when you're playing something that released 20 years ago or whatever for the first time 20 years later. And it's like, well, all right, let's start this checkpoint over from 45 minutes ago. And it's like, it's just never, no matter what you tell yourself, and you have the understanding of the context, and you're like, yep, I get it. GTA 3 was holy shit. When you look at that compared to Shinmu, it's like, goodness gracious, what a leap forward. But at the same time, I'm starting over from an hour ago because of a horrible checkpoint. And it's like, there's nothing that will make that not annoying. So. Yeah, that's always the difficult thing about jumping into that backlog, and it's funny we have a question about that on Patreon. But before we jump into it, damn, fiber internet is running the call here today on my end, so hopefully there's no pop in, hopefully there's no lag. I'm saying all of this, and I'm about to be overly arrogant, and I'm like, let me just shut the fuck up because I was gonna say I just even feel like looking at the screen and not a lot of buffering and it just seems nice, stable, no stuttering, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, hopefully things are, man, it's just such a blessing though. Like I'm, you know, gonna be able to upload in 4K and all of that shit. And then like, I don't know, it's even if we still do have audio issues here, at least and that could just be a thing of we're thousands and thousands of miles away, and it's like you're gonna you're gonna have a little hiccup hitch here and there, but hopefully it's a little bit better than it was before. And let me make sure I'm connected to my damn
Yeah.
uh yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a placebo effect. It's running so smooth.
No, we're connected to it. Thank God. Thank God.
Mm.
Because I still haven't like I I got three internets now. I haven't canceled my Starlink. I haven't canceled my Verizon. I'm gonna cancel the Starlink because that is expensive as fuck. I think I'm gonna keep the Verizon though. It's like fucking whatever, $30 a month, $40. It's not like I don't know. I just like having a mobile internet thing. Something you can take with you and you have like secured because in my area we get like fucking really bad storms and
Mm.
hurricanes and all this shit and it's like I don't know, man. I like the idea of being mobile and I like the idea of just you know how I operate. I like getting shit done on the go. So if there's any time or scenario that works best to have like a I don't know, what do you call that? Like a hotspot? I guess it's not really
Mm.
a hotspot, but it's a similar setup.
Yep.
So keep that in play.
Yep.
Well, dude, we got our Patreon and YouTube member questions, but before we jump into that, we got to shout out the members who jumped in out at that shout out tier, which is Captain Corn Dog and Sadik. Thank you all so very much for supporting the channel, supporting the endeavor, trying to continue getting this thing you know, up and running, man. It's been you know, definitely a solid like whatever 2 weeks or
Yeah.
so. It's channel's been growing like
That
crazy.
numbers. I haven't looked at it on the actual app where it goes in a little bit deeper, but just seeing like scrolling through YouTube and stuff, that number's moving, and it's moved like 3 times. So it's definitely, you know, the growth is
Let's
coming. Hell yeah.
see. Let's see. All right, so here's some nerd data for y'all. How do I do all this shit? Okay. So in August this month, our subscribers have grown 1,140% more than uh July through that like similar
Mm.
day period, you know, whatever 16 days or so. So 1,000% more in August than July. So things are looking up, man. Things are looking up. Just trying to put the pedal to the metal and then get this thing into some new make it a household name. That's absolutely the idea for unnecessary rambling. A household name. No, just trying to get it out there to more eyeballs. So I appreciate all of the new if there's any new viewers who are stumbling upon this, I appreciate y'all for subscribing. And if there's any new viewers watching this who haven't subscribed, please consider. Shout out Captain Corndog. Shout out Sadik. Thank y'all so very much. But without further ado, let's talk to the Patreon supporters and the YouTube members who had questions. And you can write in at that $5 tier and ask any question you want, and it shall be answered. Sean Ward asked, what PS2 slash Xbox game is still top tier, are still top tier experiences by modern standards? Try to put nostalgia, innovation, and Metacritic scores to the side for this one. I, man, I mean, I know that this, once again, it's, so I don't think it's nostalgia for me because I didn't, I mean, I did, but I've went back and played it recently. It's Beyond Good and Evil.
Mm.
And I still think that game holds up really, really well because it's like got a visual identity to it that's not all that, like, it's not trying to be realistic. It's got a little bit of cartoonish sort of visual stylization going on in there. And the story is just way, way, way better than you would expect. I mean, the combat's not incredible in Beyond Good and Evil. You know what I mean? It's not top tier combat. I won't lie about that. But I don't know. I think that the surrounding parts are just so good that to me that would be something that definitely holds up. You got anything off the top of your head? I got a couple that I'm thinking of.
Um, I think, and let me make sure that I'm not mixing this up. Like Final Fantasy X, I think was a PS2 title, if I'm not
Yeah, it
mistaken.
was.
Um, and I'll definitely throw that in there. I know I'm like the JRPG guy, constantly giving love, but it's because as well playing through Final Fantasy VII at the moment, the original one before the remake drops for Xbox. It's so night and day difference, like how much that game aged Final Fantasy VII in comparison to Final Fantasy X. Like you could genuinely release Final Fantasy X now and still get away with it. Like yeah, there'd be the type of thing where people maybe don't like that gameplay loop now. There's less tolerance for it and stuff like that, but it's aged fine. Like the music, the voice acting, a little bit wobbly and stuff like that, but yeah, I think it's aged tremendously well.
Yeah, I think there are like specific genres that just age better than others. And I think the action game genre in specific has like almost all of them have aged well. Bayonetta, God of War, Devil May Cry. Like I think you can go back to pretty much all of those games now, 20 years later, and still be like, dude, this is still fucking, it's still really, really fun. You know what I mean? Just simple, fun character action combat. JRPGs, I think, kind of benefit from that as well, where like especially if you want a traditional JRPG and you're not looking for, you know, Expedition 33 Paper Mario styled inputs for defensive mechanics or extra powered attacks when you hit the button at the precise time. Like if you're not looking for that, then JRPGs have kind of been the same for forever. You know what I mean? Like that experience is still like if that's still what you're looking for, then a lot of those old games are going to hold up incredibly, incredibly well in that regard. But those God of War games are immaculate, man. Like I went back and played God of War 1 a little bit this year, and it even from like a spectacle scale standpoint, just the shit you're seeing that's happening in that game, you're like, oh my God, this thing is feels big budget even for today's standards. Like if this came
Mm,
out today, you'd be like, this got some money in it.
yep, absolutely. Another one want to give a shout out to as well because it's obviously again coming off something that I recently played. San Andreas isn't what I would go with. I'd actually go with Bully. I think Bully's stood the
Yep.
test of time infinitely more than GTA Vice City or GTA San Andreas. Like, don't get me wrong, of course, San Andreas is a hell of a lot more ambitious in what it sets out to do.
Hmm.
But you, again, it's one of them things where you could release it now in just a HD port thing, and people would pick it up and be like, "Yeah, this plays fine." It's it's aged a hell of a lot better. It's just they figured things out that kind of what irksome in like GTA San, even just aiming and stuff like that. Like their lock on aiming when you have like the slingshot is so much more snappier than
Hmm.
the aiming that's present in like San Andreas and stuff.
It's funny because like that team figured things out so quickly and just that studio in general because '01 to '02, 3 to Vice City, so much was improved upon.
Mm,
'02 to '04 from Vice City to San Andreas, it was like, I mean, they pretty much made like 7 games inside of San Andreas and like stealth mechanics added in, climbing mechanics, swim for the first time, like all of this crazy, crazy detail. 2 open world maps that are loading simultaneously, no load screens. Like it's probably the most ambitious game that's ever been created. But at the same time, it's like you think it took another 2 years to get to Bully, or 1 year, 2 years, whatever. It's like they learned so much more in that time frame. They what a run, what a fucking run in those early 2000s, and it's just so crazy that like you used to get multiple Rockstar games
mm.
in a generation, and now you get like literally one if you're lucky.
Yeah, because a lot of the ones that also have filled that hole is just re-releases of other games.
Mhm.
So yeah, it is a little bit disappointing, but yeah, that would be my vote. How many did you do? Two.
I have no idea. I've just been fucking rambling. If you have
um,
more to shout out, shout them out, man. I got a couple I'm thinking of as well.
Well, I wanted to give a shout out to like the Burnout games. Like they're kind of very like you hear Need for Speed get a lot of praise and love and stuff like that, but Burnout, I remember playing Burnout on the PS2 and stuff like that, and just the destruction that it offered, just that crunchiness of cars like slamming into stuff and stuff like that, and it's just you didn't get that with Forza when they do it because it's they don't like their cars being harmed because you're paying for all these manufacturing labels. Same with like Gran Turismo stuff. Like the destruction capability is so much lower. So yeah, like Burnout 3, I think is pretty good still.
EA Big, man, like staying right there with Burnout. I mean, I know EA Big didn't make Burnout, but in
Mm.
the EA family, like everything from EA Big, Def Jam, Vendetta, Fight for New York, NBA Street, NFL Street, the Street Soccer games, the like SSX Tricky. I mean, their entire lineup holds up incredibly well today. I think that you could also look at like if you're a wrestling fan, I think that a lot of people would argue that SmackDown Here Comes the Pain still to this day is like the best playing wrestling video game of all time. So it's like NFL 2K5. A lot of people look at that as the best playing football game still to this day. So it's just yeah, I think that actually from that era. Now the real difficult question would be let's go back to PS1 and 64. Like what really holds up from that period? Because if I'm being real, I played GoldenEye recently. Shit
No,
does not hold up.
no.
I think that really maybe WWF No Mercy, those Aki Engine wrestling games, sure, but like outside of that, and even if you talk about that with somebody who, like, if I were to put those games in your hands, you would be like, what the fuck is going on with these controls? So, like, I don't know. That era, there are not, because Metal Gear doesn't fucking hold up. Um,
I
the Resident Evil
think
games don't hold up.
I think for many of them that stayed in the 2D realm, because that was when they were really
Mm.
chasing down 3D. Because you think of like, don't get me wrong, it doesn't matter what game we pick, it's going to feel rough to any game that you were to put side by side to releasing nowadays. But when I'm thinking of like Symphony of the Night and stuff like that, that didn't
Yep.
age nearly as badly as any 3D platform and stuff like that
Hmm.
because it just kept things simple. It kept things grounded and stuff like that. It's why like yeah, it's like Mario 64 and stuff like that hasn't aged well. Like you can have nostalgia for it and love the games for sure, but they don't play particularly well.
Yeah, and it's the funny thing where like I don't know, man. I love these games. Like
Mm,
yeah, I just mentioned one of my favorite games, two of my favorite games of all time. But it's like people just have such a hard time understanding that like you can love something and also understand, yeah, I shouldn't recommend that to my little cousin who's 25 or 23 or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't they didn't grow up with any of that shit. They have no appreciation for that. But I will say the game, going back to your point of JRPGs, I think one that holds up from that era so well is because you're not expecting anything to have really evolved much in the genre. Is like Parasite Eve. Like if you put Parasite Eve up against, I don't know, what are some like conventional JRPGs that are releasing today? Like I don't know, not Metaphor because Metaphor has a lot of modern sort of design implementation, but like you think to like a Unicorn Overlord or something like that. I know that's a different type of
mm.
JRPG, but something that is a little bit more traditional. You could slot Parasite Eve in along with a fucking um damn, now I'm like sitting here and I'm struggling to think of more. I guess that we don't get a ton of them.
No, a lot of them are re-releases. That's the big problem. We haven't seen many big new entries. Because that's why it was so big that Metaphor actually came out. Because you think it's
Mhm.
been, I think people forget Persona 5 released on the PS3. It's been that long, you know.
Right.
Um, but yeah, they were games that definitely they still they held up a lot better because they didn't really because even when we're actually comparing it to that, yeah, Final Fantasy VII's kind of held up okay a little bit when you're comparing it to that. I think Final Fantasy IX probably a little bit better. Um, but yeah, it's just whenever things got more ambitious is when they just, unfortunately, that's usually when they don't age as well. San Andreas was extremely ambitious, but it hasn't aged as well as Bully. Bully kind of scaled it back a little bit and gave you a lot less to do in many ways, scaling back the open world aspect of it. Um, like no jetpacks in Bully and stuff like that. Like they went off the rails with San Andreas. Like everything possible. Even end up going back to like Liberty City. I know it's only like a one-off tiny little thing, but everything like there's a Mission Impossible moment in the game as well, where you're jumping into the plane and you're hijack. Like it's just they clearly absolutely loved every moment of like coming into work and just spitballing ideas at a wall and be like, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that'd be cool. Oh, that'd be interesting. And yeah, some of them don't land, and that's fine. But yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's
that that was kind of the stories of the time where they were talking about like crunch was hell over
mm,
there at Rockstar, where it was like, I mean, you once again having to put context to things. Like, look at the other open world games at that time. Like, I mean, there wasn't even, it's like there wasn't even something that you can compare it to. It was totally breaking new ground on like so many fronts. And yeah, it's but back to the Parasite Eve thing, like an Octopath Traveler, something like that, right? Something that
mm,
is kind of that old school sort of feel. I think if you release Parasite Eve with slightly modern, visual enhancements, 4K, whatever the fuck you want to throw in there, the bells and the whistles, the ray tracing, whatever dumb shit you want to put on the box, like if you just release Parasite Eve as is today, right? Like no real enhancements other than some, visual overhauls, but no gameplay changes, refinements, whatever, that game would come out and people would be like, yeah, it's fucking awesome because the story is better than like a lot of new games that release every single day. So like I think that that's kind of the thing about that genre that makes something hold up. The JRPG genre is often the story, and I think that story holds up incredibly well.
yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's hop into our next question here from Garrett Sharp. What unconventional non-video game IP would you like to be made into a game? So no superheroes, anime, etc. Stuff that you would expect to be made into a game. Um, so no superheroes, anime, etc. Stuff that okay, saying like yeah, you kind of expect superheroes and anime and all that to be, put into a game at this point. He says his would be a Telltale style Breaking Bad game where your
Oh,
choices can yeah, that's a dope one where your choices can deviate from the original story. Um, yeah, man, I had a tough time coming up with this one and then I was like, oh dude, I know exactly what I want. Like a He Got Game, Ray Allen, Denzel Washington style basketball story because we got that Spike Lee NBA 2K16
mm,
where it was like a story mode and it was directed by Spike Lee and it was like this really well fleshed out story that was kind of absolutely fucking ridiculous for the majority of it, but at the same time it was still like I don't know. It was so cool to have like a really detailed basketball story and like your friend ends up getting killed and it's like it's all of this crazy fucking shit. But at the same time, it's like, I remember we had the Madden long shots. And I just think that some of that stuff, like having a fucking He Got Game 2 or a Blue Chips, the movie with Shaq and fucking A, I'm for Penny Hardaway. And like it just we don't get enough sports stories. So that's kind of at the top of my list there.
yeah. I think what I would love to see. I can't remember if they're actually making a game with it yet. Maybe, or it's had a cameo. I know he's had a cameo in Mortal Kombat, but the boys, but like a prototype esque thing where it's just chaos.
Hmm.
Just that kind of thing, like infamous level of destruction and stuff like that. Because it's an IP that's just we've literally talked about GTA, and whenever their games come out and stuff like that, they dominate news outlets for being controversy driven and stuff like that. And I think if they were to make a boys game and just lean fully into the absurdity of that IP, you could probably make as much noise as any GTA game because there is some wild shit that goes on in that TV show as well as the comics. So yeah, just having like a really over the top third person action game, you know, could be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking also like Point Break, like Avalanche, the Just Cause developers
Mm,
making a point, yeah, making a Point Break game. That'd be sick as fuck. There's a lot, man. Roadhouse by the Seafood developers, I think would be so fucking nasty to get to play as like a bouncer and then have this sort of criminal underbelly that you uncover. Like, there's a lot that Bad Boys would be so sick to see. Like, who's a good developer for Bad Boys? I mean, Avalanche as well probably would be like one of your go-tos. Um, but you could throw I mean, ideally United Front, the team who made Sleeping Dogs, would
mm,
probably be the team for a Bad Boys game, but obviously Square killed that. You maybe look at somebody like, of course, Rockstar's like, what the fuck? We're never gonna touch a damn if we're not gonna touch someone else's IP and make less money. But thinking of like, you know, maybe do you go with Hangar 13? Probably not. The Mafia team, that I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
this is kind of like coming from before because I don't think they've done many games like it since. But Ninja Fury's like Hellblade, right? Is that?
mhm,
But they did Enslaved. They did the
yeah.
DMC reboot. Like I could see them pulling something like that off because they have the roots of good gameplay driven stuff, and now with Hellblade, cinematic flair and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And obviously, wouldn't want it going need every pore on Will Smith's face rendered and stuff like that, but just something that has flavor. Because there's so like that. I just even that film is so iconic. Like even like there's so few action movies like that that the moments stick with you,
Oh yeah.
and it's just like I can still think of most of the beats in that story, and it has like no right in holding that much of my brain for being just
They
comfort food, essentially as entertainment. It's such a good film, such a good set of films.
yeah, physical. Sean Ward, he was in the comments the other day talking about Mafia the Old Country, and he was talking about, just how memorable like those moments will stick with him,
Mm,
and how moments really define something more so than like an overall sentiment or overall experience. The moments are what you remember. And it's funny to think about that with Bad Boys. Like I think of Bad Boys too, the woosa, Martin Lawrence going to therapy after getting his ass shot off by Will Smith. You, Mike, you shot me in the ass. Just so many fucking great moments in that damn movie, man. Like as I'm just sitting here, like they're playing in my head, the
mm,
moment where Will Smith throws the frisbee and the dog goes chasing after it, and Martin Lawrence is in the above ground pool, and the dog rips the fuck rips the whatever the connecting piece for the above ground pool, and that shit just breaks, and Martin Lawrence goes sliding off into the fucking into the ocean. And it's just because he's got like the oceanfront property or whatever. It's man, that movie is so Bad Boys 2 is probably like an all-time favorite movie of mine. I could sit here just reciting so many fucking the moment where Martin Lawrence drops the ecstasy and he's at the boss's house and he doesn't know he's taking the ecstasy and
mm.
he's all fucked up at his boss. Dude, oh my God, I love that movie. I love that movie.
I still need to see that newest one.
It's good,
Um,
man.
for life, right? Is the latest
Yeah,
one? Yeah.
yeah.
Because I watched the one before that. Um, whatever that one was called, name escapes me.
Uh, Ride or Die or
Yeah, something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. I do have one more, unless you have another one.
No, go ahead, man.
Um, I think I've spoken about this game, The Council, before. It's like a
Yeah.
Telltale-esque thing that has like RPG elements. I would love to see the Sandman IP get that treatment with that developer because
Mm,
it's an IP where a lot of it is just political stuff. Like there's so much talking that goes on and stuff. Like there, it wouldn't be something really where you'd have action, like punching and combat and stuff like that. It would be just stuff like that where it's dialogue checks and just cool environments and just playing people against each other and stuff like that. So that's I would love to see that. Unfortunately, I don't know if that will ever get a game with what's
Yeah.
happening to the owner of that IP.
Yeah. The last one that I have that's like, I know we'll never get it, but what I really, damn, I just thought of a funny joke that I'm definitely not gonna spill here. But what I really want more than anything, man, if like I could have any game made, I would want something where you were like hands-on managing a wrestling promotion. Like, and I get it, Fire Pro kind of does that. SmackDown versus Raw 2006, 2007, the GM mode, but like, I want an entire game. You remember like NFL head coach back in the day, or like the game, like Football Manager,
I was about to say
you
that,
know?
like, why can't you have that? You have Motorsport Manager, you have Football Manager, you have
But
F1 Manager.
like a fucking big budget type thing, like a thing where you're seeing whenever you make the decision to write, John Cena versus Rob Van Dam in the storyline, you actually see bits from the story. Like what I want, and then this is so fucking, this is why it'll never happen, of course, because I know we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. What I really want is to be able to write all these stories out and then also have a creation suite where I can go in and I can literally like handcraft the story where I set the backdrop. I pick, okay, I'm going in here and I want this scene to be set up in the locker room where they're sitting down at the bench having a conversation. I want to actually be able to drag and drop these assets. John Cena, I want to drag him into the scene, RVD into the scene, be able to like set up moment by moment what will take place and be able to like, spend 10 hours on one fucking episode of WWF Raw, or what, however you want to build it out. I want to have it to where I can have fucking Stone Cold getting ran over by Rikishi in the parking lot, but all of that actually be like cutscenes, but you're
Mm,
making them happen with just simple drag and drop sort of ability. Um, that shit would be sick. I know we'll probably never get it, but to be fair, we did get stuff like that back in WWE like 12 and 13, but it
yeah,
wasn't as fleshed out as I'm talking about here. Like I would want to be able to go in, you see all the ratings for each week for your show versus the other shows. I want to hire writers. Some writers are better than others. I want to, go in and be able to like uh poach people from other free agent camps, and then also in the mix of that, like I would like to have a little bit of a story thrown in there, like an actual pre-built story to some degree, where like you have interactions with rival promotions and there's heated discussion and shit like that.
yeah. I think it's more achievable than you probably think because what they could be very, very smart with it in sharing it with who makes the standard wrestling games, 2K, right?
Yep, 2K.
You had things back in oh god, what year was it? Some year in FIFA where obviously in FIFA normally you have the players on the pitch and you see that happening and stuff like that. And they actually made a FIFA manager for PC and stuff like that. And it pulled a lot of the assets and stuff like that. So they could be very intelligent with that by saving money by just using the animations of the game for that. Play
Mhm.
out an animation, clip that, have that as a preloaded thing, and like you said, and just have that as a drag and drop thing. I think that could be very easily achievable. And it shouldn't cost too much money,
Could you
really.
imagine? Yeah, could you imagine like going in and fucking you put one of your roster members on like the Joe Rogan podcast or
Mm.
something, and you're like setting up all these stories, and you get, I don't know, man. You look at, and you never want to really have the AI conversation, but you look at the pros and cons of AI. Like that's one of the very few pros in terms of these are things that pr just aren't going to be achievable with like handcrafted animation and all of this, that, and the other. Certain shit like certain things that a developer is never going to be hired to do, like make all of this a real, because it's not they, in what financial reality does it make sense? Like this game doesn't even make sense to
I,
be made.
I mean, to me it does, but it needs. The thing is that you would need to temper the expectation. It would have to follow the Football Manager route. Football Manager began its roots with just 2D text and stuff like that. I don't think starting off that level, definitely have 3D models beginning with this. I don't think you can really get away with that. But just mimicking like the F1 manager thing. Because the F1 manager games is it's an entire management simulator. It renders the entire race. You can sit in the cockpit of the person's car making decisions. You're just not driving.
Yeah,
So
so
like
you have
these types of things like that like can definitely exist. Unfortunately, they seem to go bust. There's going to be no more F1 manager games. So it's the type of thing like you need to make sure you've got the funding and stuff like that and push it as hard as you can because that was the difference between why Football Manager made that comeback. They paired with Xbox and they got that Game Pass money because it gave them a cushion to basically be like, okay, that year took a massive like we need to convince people to play this game on console. We need to convince them
yeah.
to play, and it just blew up. They have the biggest player base they've ever had now, and it's on PlayStation. It's everywhere. It's great.
Yeah, so it's like that is available on the WWE games right now through the GM mode, where you have like you can go in and you can book your stories and you, damn it. Can we pause 1 second? ATT guys calling again. Apologies, guys. Still, they got the fiber lines, that they got to go through and like dig the, underground to place the fiber lines to run them underground, and then that way it's not visible, just sitting out there in plain sight. But yeah, I was saying with it, they have like the full manager systems in WWE 2K now, but there's no like advancement beyond that. Like you can't really see the stories play out. Like you can't go in and that's the thing that I want to be able to go and handcraft like a narrative myself because you used to be able to do that back in like WWE 13, 12, where you could create storylines that would appear in game. And I would just love to be able to fuse that with the My GM. I guess so. What I'm really saying is just that I would like to be able to fuse an old feature with a new feature, and I guess maybe that shouldn't be as impossible as.
No, I think it's definitely like I said, achievable. Because especially when you look at because they finally because I've been saying it obviously for the past I think year and a half they delayed that Football Manager game and stuff like that, and it is just the thing is with these type of management simulator games when you do make a massive overhaul change, it is just I don't they always underestimate just how much effort that takes because it's just an annualized
Right.
release a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not underselling what they do. It's obviously a lot of work that they do to get them out annualized, but a lot of it is just you run through the motions. It's changing this, tweaking that. When you're overhauling an entire system from the root up, it's definitely really, really difficult. But from the stuff they've shown now, because it should be releasing this year, they skipped last year and it's coming out this year, and it looks, if it's to be believed, almost like photorealistic, which is baffling to think for a football manager game to have like that level of like fidelity in the way it looks. It's crazy.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Where it's like you don't have to make these annualized. Like take a team of say you got 30 people at 2K
Mm.
or whatever studio that are really passionate about that. Put them off in a silo and let them work on it for 5 years and get a new one out every 5 years. Like I don't think you need these things
No,
because it's all
because it's
creation
not
based.
roster based. Like it's not like a sports team where you're having to secure licenses with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of teams and dozens of leagues and stuff like that. For WWE, it would just be because they have rosters technically like Raw and SmackDown still, right? I'm assuming that's still
Yep.
a thing. You could just sell roster updates as DLC packs and be like,
Hmm.
if you want to play the 2020 roster, it's literally like the fix that many people say that normal sports games could probably get, but obviously they'll never because they make so much money. But for something like this, it could work because it would be a
Absolutely.
niche, and for someone like you wouldn't mind paying $20 every year to get like
No.
a
God,
switch
no.
up of stuff and maybe scattering in every time they release one of them, bring in like a Hall of Famer and stuff to be like, oh, and you can like bring that back and stuff like that, blast from the past.
Yeah, right. And like that's the thing where you have a team of 40 people working on it,
Mm,
10 people are on the DLC, 30 are on the new game. And like, yeah, the year after release, you're probably trying to really hoard some content to release for years down the line. And then on the second year, the team kind of splits off. More people go to work on the upcoming game. And I don't know, man. I just or maybe you make it as a one-time thing. Like, and if I don't know. I think it could be done. I understand why it's not like the appeal is. actually getting in there and doing the moves and kicking the football and
Mm.
fucking. But
It's all dependent on your mindset. Because if I'm being honest, like I'm never touching a WWE game for the rest of my life, more than likely. But what you've just
no, but
described, that management stuff, that opens up the door to all them millions of people that have any interest in just management based games. Like we'll play anything, play business
yeah.
managing stuff like that.
Well, right. Like that is actually a really good point,
Mm.
right? Where it's like the management space is taking the fuck off and you have
Yeah,
nothing really in that realm to be selling to people. And I think yeah, that is a very, very good point. So
because if they want to be
staff
this
up.
global powerhouse, which is what they are aiming to be and stuff like that, you need to have every element available.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, Point Break, WWE manager, fucking Bad Boys, Sandman. Um, there's 70 of them that we just rattled off there. Giovanni over on the YouTube membership side of things said, as I've gotten older, I've dove into games and series that I never got a chance to play growing up. Because of this channel, I've played series like Resident Evil, Mass Effect, Yakuza, Mafia, and A Plague Tale. Um, he says not older, but never heard of a lot of these games before the channel. He said, I plan on playing Metal Gear Solid and Gears of War after finishing the Yakuza series. But are there any other games or series that you guys would recommend? He said, FYI, I've played a lot of newer, more popular games, series like Red Dead Redemption, God of War, The Last of Us, Horizon, etc. So you mention a lot of games that are very story focused in here. So I'm assuming you like handcrafted, really, really well told stories. I mean, literally every single game you mention in here, except maybe Resident Evil, Mass Effect, Yakuza, A Plague Tale, God of War, Red Dead, Horizon, Last of Us, like even Gears to some degree. Like these are Metal Gear Solid, these are all God tier stories. Except for, maybe Gears, Resident Evil, but still, like, there's some good stories.
Poor Dom. Poor
But
Dom.
I'm saying in comparison to these other
Yeah,
ones
of
in
course,
here,
of
you know what I
course.
mean? But like, listen, Resident Evil is my favorite franchise ever. There's some stories I like in there, but it seems that you really, really enjoy a good narrative-driven game, like I do, and like Loon does, and like I mean, I think a lot of people enjoy story-driven games. But I'm trying to think, like in that realm, you've covered a lot of them. The one that comes to mind immediately for me is the Remedy verse. So like Alan Wake or
Mm.
Control, a good third person, because once again, a lot of these are third person action adventure titles. I don't see Uncharted in there either, but let's stick with Remedy. I would recommend for sure. Alan Wake 1 remastered is it's okay. It's fine. It's a little bit rough around the edges, but there's a great story in there. And then Alan Wake 2 plays way, way, way better. But really, man, Control, you cannot go wrong with Control. Can't go wrong with Max Payne 3. The Remedy verse is like, yeah, it's hard to get much better than that. And like if I'm just being honest, looking at your list, you've played pretty much the best of the best here. Other than like Metal Gear, what you're about to get to. I mean, shit, dude. You've played all the greatest like narrative driven, third person action adventure games on the block. So Remedy might be the only thing left if you haven't played that.
Yeah, this comes with a caveat on depending how much like clunk you can handle. Because a lot of people obviously got exposed to The Witcher 3. Dude, The Witcher 2's story is, to me, I would argue it is a better crafted narrative from start to finish. Because the thing is there's kind of lulling moments in The Witcher 3. Like when you actually get down to it, you're like, kind of slows down because you're kind of like trying to go everywhere, experience everything. Whereas with the Witcher 2 being zone based and stuff like that, you don't feel as much of like a you're constantly being pushed forward because you're there for a specific particular reason. Whereas when The Witcher 3, you can kind of make your own way to certain places before you should probably be going and maybe experience the story out of order from maybe the intended purpose. The other one would be Deus Ex. Um, the two Deus Ex games, the one that came out on the 360, Human Revolution, and then Mankind Divided. I think they're definitely worth checking out. Um, I don't think Dead Space gets enough love either. I think the free Dead Space games hold up relatively well because there was. I remember when that remake did actually come out, you had a big divide in people being like, "There's no need for it to even exist," and people didn't like some of the changes that they made. Um, so yeah, I think if it was me recommending like experiencing Dead Space, I'd probably say do the remake, then two, then three, because I think personally, I think the changes and the narrative choices that they make do enrich the game. Him being
Oh, without a
silent
doubt.
that whole time just doesn't. It doesn't really make sense to me.
No, it's not
Um,
an RPG.
no, so I never really understood that. Do you have any
Silent
more?
Hill 2.
Oh,
Yeah, Silent Hill 2, the remake for sure. Like just talking about these story-rich games, man. Like, you know, it seems that I I get it. People love the original Silent Hill games, but I would say just jump straight into 2, the remake of 2, and and experience true absolute terror, but one of the greatest like handcrafted, emotional, heartbreaking, uh, traumatizing stories that has ever been written in the video game space. So yeah, those would be. I see you don't have Uncharted in here, but I assume you've probably already played Uncharted. Um, Days Gone would also be another one, just in this field of games that like, your third person action adventure open world style of titles. Days Gone doesn't get enough love. Days Gone has some of the weirdest, unique mechanics for that genre, like almost being kind of like a State of Decay, but with like really fun, addictive gameplay. Um, but
it's
having
a
like
state
just a
of decay with budget. Really, is
right.
what it feels like. Like I don't mean to like throw that shade at Undead Labs, but it does always feel like every time they've done anything, like because they released two DLCs, I believe, for the State of Decay one game, obviously, and the State of Decay one game itself. So technically, like if you're being honest, like four or five like release cycles
Mm.
for their stuff, and it's never really been as good as it probably could be. Especially like being acquired by Microsoft, you'd have expected like, okay, then this should be the big, you know, next shift, next gear up. That's my big worry for that next State of Decay game. Because if they just release something that's within basically the same realm as State of Decay 2, I will be pretty let down personally.
Yeah, and it's funny, right? Where it's like State of Decay definitely. I don't want to sit here and try to make it seem like Days Gone has anywhere near the level of management and, sim systems and all that shit that State of Decay has, but I think I would sacrifice like 60%
Mm,
of that in order to get like shooting that feels that good and these crazy horde mechanics. But it's also like I am terrified of running out of gas and I do have to scavenge for resources. And like Days Gone, really, it's such a bummer. Such a bummer. That series had so much juice left in it. But yeah, those would be my recs, man. You have any others? Cyberpunk, I see you don't have on here. Definitely would shout out
literally had
Cyberpunk
my
as well.
finger on Cyberpunk.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry.
no, that's fun. I will throw an it because he seems to have like story driven stuff on there because we're targeting like third person stuff. I will say what doesn't get nearly enough love is the Banner Saga. Like I'll always take that opportunity to shout that out. Like if you can have tolerance for reading more so than gameplay, but the Banner Saga is a really special story from start to finish because it's that type of Mass Effect thing as well. You see people constantly praise Mass Effect for being like, oh, your choice here, stuff like that. Literally every choice you make in the Banner Saga makes its way all the way to the end of that trilogy. Like everything that you choose to do has an impact on stuff. Like it's crazy for an indie game to have accomplished that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how I didn't think of this one. Spec Ops The Line, dude.
Mm,
If you got a 360, specifically in this wheelhouse of games you
backwards
like,
compat.
you know, yeah,
So
if you got a Series X or a 360 laying around or PS3 or unfortunately not available on PS5, but let's see. Yeah, you're talking about Gears of War or but yeah, he's saying, hmm, because I plan on playing Metal Gear Solid and Gears of War after finishing the Yakuza series. So maybe he's talking about the new Gears of War that's coming to PlayStation.
yeah, I'd assume so.
Um, yeah, because there's PlayStation games on here, but not a lot of. Well, Mass Effect, but yeah, that's it's not like that necessarily. That was only exclusive for a little bit, but um, yeah, man, Spec Ops: The Line is god tier. Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, like there's a lot of not to Vampire, there's a lot of these kind of B tier games in that you've played the S tier for sure, but there's definitely some solid A and B tier games left on the table.
LA Noir.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Um, Great questions, guys. Thank y'all so much for the warm up. Thank y'all so much for supporting the channel, supporting the endeavor. And without further ado, how about we get on into the news? Let me make sure I'll do one more refresh on the old Patreon and make sure nothing has been submitted. Nothing has been submitted through the YouTube. I need to, man, I am so behind on the Patreon and all that. I still got it under the name Game and Ramble on Patreon. I got to get in there and fucking fix all that shit. I still got like threads open from like 3 weeks ago. I try to go in and delete the Q&A threads on Patreon. That way people don't accidentally write into the wrong one. Um, but yeah, only so much goddamn bandwidth, man. Um, let's see. We have some decent news here today to talk about. A few stories before we hop out of y'all's hair. Um, so Gamescom is looking pretty damn solid this year. Like there's some stuff that is on the horizon that I don't know, just sort of curious about where I guess to start off with Fallout New Vegas is or Fallout New Vegas, Fallout Season 2 and in the promotional image there it says welcome to New Vegas
Yep.
on the promo image for Fallout Season 2. So it's obviously being set in New Vegas to some degree and yeah, Gamescom is just kind of stacked. And then we'll get into that a little bit, but you expecting anything more than the show announcement? Are you expecting my Xbox prediction to come true? My showcase prediction where I was like said something to the effect of they'll roll in with the car and fucking it'll be a real car, like it'll be from the actual, TV series, like a real thing, and then it cuts into gameplay of the car rolling into New Vegas, kind of like the trailer. I mean, I know that's not going to happen, but I have to assume that there's some Fallout New Vegas remaster in the works right now.
um, yeah, I don't think they have this. What's the word I'm looking for here? They don't have that worked out just yet, like Sony does in setting stuff up perfectly. They seem to still be kind of wobbling a little bit with balancing all forms of media. I think obviously we know that the TV show will probably make an appearance. If anything, it'll probably be a 76 event that will get announced. And if we're very, very lucky, like a very brief announcement kind of thing, where it'll be like, oh, the game was rigged from the start. Something that short at like the end and then being like, yeah, it's under development is probably my best case scenario. I don't think we'll see gameplay of a remaster if it exists. I think it's way, way too early for that, personally. Um, and also, it'd be kind of weird if it would be anything, it'd be the free remaster thing because that was kind of alluded to, right? New
Yep, that was
Vegas,
leaked.
yeah, New Vegas hasn't. It's just a lot of people are basing that as an assumption because of season two. Um, so maybe you see Fallout 3 instead make an appearance. Um, but yeah, just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean the leaks are suggesting. I mean the leaks suggested Oblivion that came true, and then it was Fallout 3. So I assume that's going to come true. And I just I find it kind of bizarre to not have anything New Vegas related if that's kind of the main beat of the show and the main promotional material. Like you would think you would want to have something New Vegas in the works, and maybe they do. Virtuous is huge. They can, hell, maybe, when you're looking at acquisition targets for Microsoft, obviously they can't really go in and acquire a Sega or whatever. Well, I mean, I don't know. The door is kind of open for them to acquire anything because the biggest game publisher in the world they were allowed to acquire that, so they can theoretically get whatever the fuck they want if they can get Activision.
The big question mark was when they did the Activision thing is whether or not that was going to hurt Sony. And look, they can show them the homework right now. They're putting everything on
Right.
PlayStation, so it just plays into their hand of like, well, you can probably just get the green light to buy anybody. Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
don't want them to acquire anybody else. Just focus on your own stuff. Because if they were in a very, if they could show that they can efficiently run things and things don't suffer under
Right.
them, that would be different. Because we were in the very early stages as well. We were in, I wouldn't say full support of Embracer, but it was like, maybe a shift up like that could do the industry some good. They seem to be getting the
Mm.
ball rolling now, but it's that thing of like a lot of things have to suffer to get to where they are at now with Embracer. Same with Microsoft. Like when you do these big mergers, big acquisitions and stuff, loads of things get destroyed before things get better.
If
So
they ever do. And it's like you look at Embracer and it's like, holy shit, man. How many studios at Microsoft as well? How many studios got axed and how many games are we never going to see that we love from these franchises? And are we ever going to get a Deus Ex again? Like probably not. But I do find it like, when thinking about acquisition targets, Virtuous is one that's like, oh wow, I could see them being worth quite a bit of money now. Metal Gear Solid 3 and fucking
Oblivion. Yep.
Oblivion being the second best selling game of the year so far for quote unquote new releases. So it's like that team they are cooking. And if you could have an internal remake studio, which is what Bluepoint was supposed to be, but think about the IP that Microsoft owns, that you could go back into like in
Mm,
64 catalog of fucking shit that with Rare, and you could go into, I mean, imagine like you probably don't want to do it now because boy, the PR will be hell, but like a Perfect Dark remake. Like just like imagine that specific uh
oh boy, that would
you
set the
know
internet ablaze. Um,
uh,
I don't know. My wishful thinking of that kind of stuff kind of ceases with them because that was kind of the reason they wanted Rare to begin with and stuff like that. They had a lot under their belt that they could have done remakes and stuff like that and reboots and remasters and all these years have gone by and they haven't really touched it. Um, there's a lot of stuff
don't
like
get me wrong.
under. Go
I'm not wishing for this day. I don't want them to
Oh
acquire
yeah,
Virtuous.
no,
I think that'd be
but
a
yeah,
horrible scenario.
that's my worry because if they were to actually acquire them, I don't even think that they because it'd be the same thing with like the Bluepoint thing. Maybe you get one extra remake out of them or something, and then you end up being like, yeah, now you do what we want you to do because we own you. Yeah, I think independence right now is more important than ever. Stuff like that, look at Larian and stuff. They don't want to be acquired. You don't want to be under anybody's gaze and stuff like that. Do your own thing. So hopefully they're just a powerhouse contractor. I know contract work is also kind of dangerous. Sometimes contracts fall through and stuff like that, but they seem to be doing just fine at the moment. They seem to be pumping stuff out. I'd assume they're making shitloads of money this year, whatever their report turns out to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, I was watching a old because I fucking nerdiest shit in the world.
Get in
I
the
have a
locker.
play. Oh, this is locker behavior for sure. I got this playlist saved for my favorite era of Game Informer, the Game Informer podcast from like,
Mm.
I don't know, 2016 to 2019, just like all the episodes compiled up into a playlist. And it's just like my comfort food. It's just what uh, I like to watch that type of stuff just to like wind down. And um I've watched all of these episodes fucking uh, but still I was the other day I put on one from E3 like 2019 right after Obsidian got acquired by Microsoft, and it was wild. It was an interview with Sven Vink, one of the leaders at Obsidian at the time, Sam Lake, and somebody else that I can't remember. But it was so crazy to hear Sven Vink, even at the time. like as Obsidian just got acquired, he made multiple references to like, you know, not like shitting right in their face, but like kind of making it his point very obvious about why independence is so
Yeah,
important. And it was just, I don't know, it was so wild to see like, okay, yeah, that that has not changed. He still believes that the same, and then you see like Sam Lake who's over there on the side, and he's, like, it just, I don't know, it's wild to watch something back from whatever 6 years ago, and you see the like Sven Vink was fucking dead set on that,
yep.
and he has not budged. And then Sam Lake was like, there's a lot of benefit from
It's
from having a publisher that, or having a being working under a bigger company.
it's the three different mindsets, isn't it? It's like Obsidian didn't mind getting acquired. Remedy don't want to get acquired, but they will happily be
Right.
funded. It's the different extremities, and then you have Sven Vink where he's like, no, we don't really want like even that. Like we'd prefer if at all, like we'd want our own stuff funded ourselves. And obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 was a massive success for them, but they could have. This is the difference. Like so many other studios would have had that success, and they've said, "Well, we're just going to live with Hasbro for the rest of our lives, pally pally, and just keep doing." But they're like, "No, we want to make our own stuff.
Mm.
We want to see our own success and stuff like that." And it's just, but it's difficult, man. Because I empathize with Sam Lake because his visions that he has for his stuff, I I don't think they can self fund that. They would go under so damn quick. Like it's so expensive the stuff that he wants to do.
Yeah.
When you
And
think
they never
back,
make money.
exactly, yeah. Well, they begin to make money much. It's the same with Obsidian with Pillars taking several years to become profitable. You have the likes of Lords of the Fallen, the remake, just becoming profitable. Like these things that it's just a very very difficult situation. Um, just be very very smart now is what it feels like, you know. Um, yeah, but I truly admire his drivenness and passion. Um, can't wait to see what their next title is, whatever it is. How even if it's like a small, tiny little project, like you'll know that there'll be passion tied to it. Because even with Original Sin 1 and stuff like that, when they were kind of limited in budget and scope, like their passion shone through, and they always went back and revoiced lines and stuff. Same with like what Disco Elysium did. You go back and you make sure people are voice acted and stuff like that because it just adds stuff. Because like they don't have to do that, but they choose to do that because they want their product to be as good as it possibly can.
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm just looking over this. Gamescom is wow, they got a lot going on, man. So here are some games confirmed for Gamescom opening night live on Tuesday. Call of Duty Black Ops 7, Resident Evil Requiem, Ghost of Yotei, Ninja Gaiden 4, The Outer Worlds 2, Silent Hill F, World of Warcraft, Fallout Season 2, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 musical performance. Like
Oh,
this is
nice.
all on opening night live. And I saw this interview from Christopher During at the Game Business Show where he was interviewing, what was his name? Felix Falk, a Gamescom executive. And he was saying like, he feels like Gamescom has a responsibility to step up and kind of fill the shoes of E3. So I guess that begs the question, is that possible? Can Gamescom ever become the new E3, or can it ever have that same level of prominence?
Hmm. I mean, to a degree, of course, because when something ends up leaving the space, it doesn't matter what it is, something will begin to fill that. I don't think it will ever have the cultural impact that E3 did. You think back of all them moments in E3's history that are like all time classics. I don't think that we'll get them to that degree. I think this is a good enough replacement, but I think it's going to be a lot of not to dig out because we do it like this kind of style of like just sitting and chatting kind of thing. I don't. It doesn't feel like it's going to have that aura effect of the Rock coming on stage and stuff like that. That kind of like absolute blockbuster kind of thing. Or do you feel like that they could potentially morph it into that as years go by. I don't like this year, definitely not. Um,
Yeah. It's a weird thing where like E3 I think had a lot of that aura. I mean, obviously it's a California, it's an American kind of, it has that gravitas, it has that sort of pomp, kind of puff your chest out sort of Americanism to it. And with this being in what, Cologne, Germany, I believe, for Gamescom, it's just a different attitude for sure. But with Keeley hosting it, there is some of that old E3-ism in him. I mean, you look at the Game Awards and like he puts on a fucking spectacle for the Game Awards. And I just it's the real conflict of interest is Summer Game Fest, where he hosts opening night live, but Summer Game Fest is Keeley's baby, other than the Game Awards, right? So it's like Gamescom really isn't like Keeley's thing. Whereas Summer Game Fest, that is Keeley's thing, full stop. And I just think that Summer Game Fest would probably have a bigger chance of becoming the new E3 before Gamescom. But, last year, fucking Mafia of the Old Country, it didn't get revealed at Keeley, it didn't get revealed at Summer Game Fest. It got revealed at Gamescom. Borderlands 4 didn't get revealed at Summer Game Fest. It got revealed at Gamescom. Um, Dying Like the Beast didn't get revealed at Summer Game Fest. It got revealed at Gamescom. And so, like, Gamescom is starting to get big fucking announcements. And also, they're, America isn't necessarily the hotbed for game development right now. It's still a hotbed. You still have probably, I don't know, you would say five of the top 10 most talented studios in the world are out of the United States, but like it's a very shaky, turbulent sort of development scene where, layoffs are happening probably more here than anywhere else in the world. I mean, definitely more here than anywhere else in the world. And also it's so expensive to make games here compared to anywhere else in the world. So like I do look at the opportunity for something in Germany as like, hmm, yeah, I you could see theoretically that being an easier trip to make for a lot of quote unquote smaller teams.
well, yeah,
Um,
European-based developers and stuff like that. It's a lot cheaper of a trip to make. Um, do we know? So obviously Xbox is going to be there with their
hmm,
stuff. Do we know if the other two are going to be there?
PlayStation is Ghost of Yotei is going to be there.
Is Nintendo attending? Because
I doubt it.
that's the big thing of like that's what I'm talking about when I'm like because when E3 started to die down a bit, they all just kind of left on their own or put in a lot less effort. They were putting like especially like Nintendo, they didn't shop in person. They just sent video calls and stuff like that. It felt like you think of like when they were on stage clashing with each other and stuff like that. That's the type of stuff that I think a lot of people do miss. Um, the competitiveness of it between all three of them. But yeah, I think it'll be a good thing for European based developers because like yeah, it'll be a lot easier. Like German based developers, Polish based developers, you know, such an easier time to make the trip there. You drive, you
Right.
can literally just drive from some of them rather than take the flight. It's probably cheaper.
Where is Larian out of?
Sweden, I believe, if I'm not
So,
mistaken.
yeah.
Let me just
I
make
mean,
sure.
no, you're good, but like you look at CDPR and like you look at KCD, the Warhorse, you look like they're starting to become a real fucking listen, I can kind of see a reality where Gamescom becomes a
Belgium,
really, so I
even
mean, yeah,
closer. That's literally
right.
within stone's throw.
So like I could see a reality where Gamescom becomes a fucking really, really big deal because what happens is when these scenes pop up and you get a Warhorse and they become, a 300-man studio, well, 20 of those members split off and they think they're talented enough to go do their own thing. So they start their own thing and they hire 50 more people. And then they release three games, 20 people. Like it starts becoming, you have a main pillar and then there's branches that form off the bases of that main pillar. Like you look at Canada with Ubisoft, right? Where so many teams, I mean, even Sandfall, like the basis of like the core guy being a Ubisoft guy,
Yep.
and then plucking other talent, other people that he knows that in that area that are really talented, and then I'm sure remote work as well. And that's once again, that's another element where maybe your main headquarters are centered in wherever the fuck, like Poland or pick your location, and then you have people from the United States working on it. You have people from everywhere working on it, but you can kind of your main team can show up in at Gamescom, do interviews, reveal their big game. Like, I don't know. I think there is a world where Gamescom as the US is becoming less of like because in that era when E3 was E3, PS2, there was no scene other than
Mm.
fucking Western developed games. Like I I don't think people remember that. That JRPGs were on their fucking deathbed and Nintendo wasn't hot. And like everything that was hot was coming out of the West. And like our friend group didn't even know about JRPGs. Like we knew the name Final Fantasy, but like we gave no fucks about any of that shit. It was not like we had no marketing material where we ever even understood what that stuff was. That is not the case anymore. The West is not like as dominant in the game space. They're still dominant, but not as dominant.
Yeah, it was still fairly big in Europe and stuff like that. Um, Still, you can even feel the echoes of it today. Like, especially as like you said in Germany as well. This is the perfect example. German-based fans get like their own translations of certain stuff. Like Near, for instance, specifically gets a German translation of some of their books, which you don't see get in like other countries and stuff. So it definitely was still a bit bigger, but yeah, that gives so much more of an opportunity to have these games. Because I don't know how much. Because obviously, if it's in America, you want to try and appeal to American audiences. If it's set in Europe, you can kind of skew it and pivot towards European audiences as well, and give them a little bit more of a chance to shine. So yeah, how
That's
much
the real difficult
influence?
thing.
How much influence does it have and stuff like that?
Hmm. Yeah, that's really the challenge, right? Having a European show or having like a show in Germany, and because I mean Gamescom is technically bigger than E3 ever was. Like Gamescom has thousands of people who go and flood those, but we know what we're talking about. We're not talking about like open to the public in terms of we're talking about public perception of
Mm.
scale and magnitude and impact. It's bigger in terms of bodies, but it's not bigger in terms of impact. Then I mean, the worst E3 has been had more of an impact than any of the best Gamescoms ever have.
Well,
But
I can't think of like a moment from Gamescom. That's what I'm trying to drag as well. That's what I was talking about with the aura moment. So you think of like the Keanu Reeves moment, just something as
mm,
simple as like an interaction as that of like I love you, like that instantly just became a thing and stuff like that. So they kind of need to figure something out with it to make sure that they can rival it and continue that torch. But yeah, I think they could over the next few years build it into something. Because there's just a massive void with E3 gone. There's tons of people that cheered when it went down. Don't know why. It's like that. Okay, one less thing for us to celebrate our hobby. Good job, guys. I know it's kind of like corporate stuff sometimes, a bit of stroking egos, but it's still like they're showing you products that you probably want,
right.
right?
Well, and they're pleading to you as the
Yeah.
consumer, like to buy their products, and it's like a show that is directed solely at you, the consumer, and like I don't know, I never really understood that because that's when you get moments like price cuts and
Mm.
that reveal that shocks. Oh my God, it's going to be priced $100 under the competitor. Oh my God, you're actually going to be able to resell these items, like those big moments that completely swayed generations of consumer behavior of like, okay, no, we're going to buy this instead of that. Like that happens because you have this format that allows for it to happen in front of tens of millions of eyeballs digitally and then, hundreds and hundreds of people physically. Like it's a really big deal. And I often think about like I think that the name Summer Game Fest is starting to catch on. I don't know, have you started to feel like that where it doesn't even feel weird to say it anymore? Because at first it felt weird for me to even say Summer Game Fest.
It still feels very small. I feel. I don't think it's made that splash yet. It's definitely getting that. It feel because it's like the Game Awards that didn't feel back when that first started to kick off. It's like okay, this is kind of interesting and niche. It's got a little bit bigger. It's the type of thing like you need a good few of them underneath your belt where they've done really well,
Yep.
and then you're like, yeah, man, this is it. This is it. So, but this, what is it? You said Gamescom, right? That's
Mm.
it. Definitely feels meaty this year. I'll tell you that. When I was looking at the stuff, like when you're looking through Twitter and stuff, and it's like, this is what's on the roster, and so it's like, Jesus Christ, a lot of fucking names.
And that's what we know, right?
Yep, exactly. You don't know what's going to be. There can be infinite amounts of shadow drops. There could be anything. They could go on stage, for instance, and like you said, with you know that they're going to be talking about Fallout Season 2, they can easily slip in a small trailer at the end of something and just, yeah, piggyback off the back of that. That can be done for so many different things, and it can be pivoted in so many different ways.
Yeah. And it's like I I just think that there's still value in that name E3. To what degree, I don't know. But like I
It's just
started thinking
missing the
about
extra free, of course, and then it's the greatest game of all time.
I, again today on fucking Twitter, I saw somebody just go on. They said some vile shit to somebody that were saying they were enjoying Donkey Kong Bonanza. I was like, man, what is going on? And listen, it's not the majority of the fan base, but I'm like, why am I seeing this so frequently from the 33 heads? Um, but no, I think that E3 the name still has value, and it's like I wonder how much Keeley could he buy that from the ESA? And could you do a showcase that's just called the E3 Showcase, but it's pretty much just Summer Game Fest, but it has a new name? Like I wonder how many more millions of people would tune in just because of the name E3. Would it be a needle mover at all? Bringing just the name back, but having the same kind of format and setup as Summer Game Fest? I don't know, right? What do you think? There's obviously
Mm.
power in the name E3, but like how much? Is it really worth, what, tens of millions of dollars probably to buy it?
It's that it's like how much impact can that name still have, but it's also like what can you get on that roster because there's so many people when they tune into a showcase and like I've already seen this kind of thing. You don't
Hmm.
want repetition um too much because if it's just the same as say Summer Games Fest or if it's the same as Gamescom and it's like
Well, I'm
60% of the roster on there that they're bringing, but the
I'm saying to
name the
completely cancel Summer Game Fest and
oh
replace it with
okay,
E3. Yeah.
I don't think that would make sense for him really if you've already began building that up because he was meant to be taking over right at one
To some
point to
degree.
do something, and then it ended up going under. It was like during COVID or something, like the year after COVID, and yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of an E3 showcase where, like, if Keeley's in charge of it, and it's like this idea of instead, because you remember E3, in my opinion, kind of sucked a lot of the time where it's like, oh, here's a horrible Bethesda show, here's a horrible Ubisoft show, here's a horrible EA show, and we're all just waiting for PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. And it would be this like big fucking weekend sprawling thing full of bad showcases, and then you would get a couple good ones. Like, I think it would be cool just to have here is the E3 showcase, the 2026 E3 showcase,
In one
where
night. What you mean?
one night,
Mm.
2.5 hours, and then you also have a weekend after it where you have that show on Friday. Then you have Saturday and Sunday where you have developer interviews, playable demos, stuff like that. But the big show, one big show that is a big fucking event. And then you have a pre-show, where you have, more interviews, stuff like that. You can make it this big grand spectacle. But I just wonder if there's still juice left in the name E3 enough to the point. Because I mean, he's got the infinite money glitch. You know, I mean, he does. Like his family owns IMAX.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. And you would have to pivot. You'd have to place it perfectly, like a 6 month period from the Game Awards, because you don't want it too close, you don't want it too far, kind of thing.
Hmm.
I think yeah, maybe. It's obviously he just has his hands in Summer Game Fest. If he didn't have that, then it would be a definite like yeah, go grab it. I don't know if he
Yeah.
wants to triple juggle three like things entirely himself because he's obviously got his hand in Gamescom, but it's not his
Hmm.
showcase. I don't know if he'd want to. But yeah, maybe. Don't know how
Yeah.
much it would cost as well to set all that up and purchase the names. I don't know who owns it, where that's gone.
Yeah, because like even what are you gonna I'm sure the ESA would do some sort of fucking weird shit where they're like, well, you're also going to be purchasing our content library. It's like, bitch, all that shit's available for free on YouTube. That is worth nothing. Um, yeah, I don't know. Uh, but yeah, I have a lot of I want Gamescom to become something really, really big because we need a big show in the summer, a big show in the summer. And Summer Game Fest, it just doesn't seem like it's going to do that. It just doesn't seem like it's going that way. So if Gamescom can do that, then more power to you.
Yep.
But speaking of big summer blockbusters, we finally have some new information about the upcoming Jurassic Park game, Jurassic Park Survival. Um, Listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. There's not a lot of new information, but there is some new information, kind of. There's at least an update. And that's kind of the thing about this is like, I don't even necessarily care that we didn't get a lot of new reveals in this developer update thing. I'm just glad that they're talking about it because that's the thing about Knights of the Old Republic, the remake that bums me out is like it's not even being mentioned. So there's not even like this level of confidence that this thing is still in production. Um,
Yep.
just having this little rollout where it's like the heads of Universal sitting down with the heads of Saber, and it's like, well, we're trying to make as authentic of a Jurassic Park experience as possible. We're going in and we're scanning fucking dinosaur eggs because we want the most accurate dinosaur eggs possible in our game. And they did show like the T-Rex and they showed the whole design for the dinosaurs, and it looks good. Like you see the lady getting ate by a dinosaur, looks dope. It seems like they are definitely trying to make this as realistic and as like directly Jurassic Park as possible, which is cool. And it's showing like you have new locations. You have a hotel in there that's under construction that you'll be navigating through. It's a uh, first person adventure kind of horror. That's the thing I do worry about. Is it like pretty much just a walking sim? But at the end of the day, what else do you really want from Jurassic Park, I guess?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's not like they don't really fight the dinosaurs. Really,
Not often.
it's very rare that they actually go toe to toe in the series with them. It's more, as you'd expect, they're meant to be the biggest threat that was ever on the planet. So having a normal person at a theme park is probably heavily under equipped, and the people that are at the theme park are also heavily under equipped. All they have is like dart rifles a lot of the time. Do we know if it's single player, right? Or
Yep.
it?
And they did confirm that they
Okay.
wanted to, because like the name
Yep.
Survival definitely, yep,
Yep. Has connotations to it where it's going to be like, 4 player co-op, yay. Um,
100%.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Um, and again, I think we've spoken about this before. We don't get enough like licensed IP games anymore of like high quality.
No.
When you're getting licensed IP games now, it feels like really bottom of the barrel scraping stuff a lot of the time where it's just very low effort flipping and stuff like that. So like the more that we can get in this realm, I'm all for. So yeah, it looks, even if it is just going to be like a walking sim esque thing, it can at least carry the novelty of being a Jurassic Park setting, which a lot of people will just happily be a part of because especially I'm sure for you maybe, but I know for me, grew up watching the films. They have impact. They
Mhm.
have cultural impact for our generation. So happily probably buy that day one.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like there is, it seems that Saber has kind of embraced that licensed game maker role exclusively, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, they're making the new um Avatar Airbender fella game. They're making fucking Jurassic Park. They're making the Hellraiser game. Even Space Marine is not their IP. Even the Turok game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know these are games, and then these it's not necessarily movie related or whatever. Well, it kind of. Anywho, um, they're not really working on anything new, as far as I'm aware. Like any new IP, and yeah, they're just in a really interesting spot. Knights of the Old Republic, and they got a lot of IP known, known kind of these franchises that they're working on from outside of the game space, or even with Turok inside of the game space, but not their own stuff, which is very PS2 era
Mm.
kind of philosophy.
Yeah, it's almost Nintendo-esque thing of like making sure that you're weaponizing nostalgia, as I've said many, many times. You know, getting people comfortable with something. Like as good as like a new IP can be, it's also the very first hurdle that you have to do is invest somebody into that IP, which is very, very difficult in times when people are looking at prices so closely. If they have any doubt, they will just skip it now for a lot of people. So if you can give them something that they're familiar with, it's a lot easier to swallow that. Of being like, "Oh, I like Jurassic Park, the films." I'd happily go for that. So yeah, it's definitely a smart business decision.
Yeah, it's weird because like the the financial reality of like having your own IP and being able to do whatever you wish with that after it releases if people love it, like the potential is so much higher.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ceiling, there is no ceiling, but there is also a very real fucking floor, and like there's no necessary like you don't have that, with the name Jurassic Park, people are going to buy it. Even with the name fucking Looney Tunes or something like that, people are still going to buy it just because of the brand. And yeah, so I get it, but at the same time I'm looking at that team and I'm like, y'all are so talented. Go make something on your own. Like take one of these teams after one of these games releases and just have them make something that you own 100%. Um but at the same time, like they just got their independence back, so like they're probably kind
Yeah,
of freaked out right
you gotta
now.
build up a treasure trove. This is the thing of like the Larians in such a strong position right now because they're sitting on a lot of money, and that's if you're independent, that's what you need to be building. You don't want to be as much as we throw love at Remedy. You don't really want to be in Remedy's shoes where you're kind of scrambling once a game comes out to get the funding for the next thing, and you're just really desperate to make sure that that gets lit. Because I feel bad for Remedy. It feels like if they just get a bunch of no's, what are they going to do? Because they're known for that level of quality. You can't drop 3, 4 levels of quality below that and expect people to be okay with your games, however good they are. It'll be a very, very big damage to the reputation of the company. Scary.
But it is interesting where you look at Remedy now and there's like movies in the works
Mm.
from these IP that they own, and it's I don't know. It just at times it is worth betting on yourself. Like if you really think you have something, but that's the thing. You wait until you really think you have something. There's no reason to just throw shit out there and hope that something sticks. Like Remedy is very, very careful about like their vision is going to be saw through to its exact and final bullet point. And so I would like to see Saber do that as well because I think they are. I mean that Space Marine 2 was really really solid. But once again, they might be more of a team that's like we really don't have the storytellers and shit. We have fucking
They might just have
we have
fans.
great
This is the thing.
animators
Like the
and
reason Space Marine 2 resonated so much is because a lot of the people, you could tell the people that worked on that game knew what it is. It's not just picking up an IP for the sake of it being an IP. They knew the details to put in. They knew certain voice lines when you're walking past and stuff like that, and set pieces and characters and just, yeah, the lore in the world. That might just be their masterpiece of just being fans of stuff and being able to translate that into gaming media.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, it could be a thing where like certain studios are like you don't necessarily expect masterpiece level narratives from certain studios. You just get badass fucking gameplay. And but then I don't know. You look at something like Jurassic Park or you look at something like even the new like the Avatar game, Hellraiser, like those are all standalone. Like they're not I mean, Jurassic Park, this game takes place like a year after the movie, so you got a lot to work with there. And with, oh, yeah, you have a lot to work with all these.
Yeah, I
So
was about
it's
to say
not
you have
like you
like
got to
eight
tell
Hellraiser
some,
game movies or whatever it is, crazy amounts. Yeah.
yeah. So it's not like you necessarily have to think way outside the box to tell these stories, but yeah, I'm just really curious about the delivery of the narrative because I didn't, Space Marine 2 was like fine. Like I guess people who are really into the lore liked it
Mm.
a lot, the narrative.
That's the
Yeah,
thing is
just
that
curious about their storytelling.
they're gonna be a developer that if they carry on in this state, it will be whoever they're targeting is gonna be the fans of that IP. Because like you said, you set did you finish it or did you put it down?
Yeah, I finished it.
And that's what I
Space Marine
mean.
2.
You finished it. You're like, yeah, it was an okay game. But for the people that are like Warhammer nerds, myself, but like, dude, that's like the greatest. Like, that's like a 9 out of 10 for narrative, for translating Warhammer shit into a video. Like, I can't really expect much more than that. So yeah, I'm sure they'll probably keep that ball rolling.
Yeah, and they seem to manage budgets well. Like Space Marine 2 wasn't anything that was overly spectacular in terms of like, you don't play that game and you're like, what the fuck? This had to have been $500 million. It seems like they're keeping a tight ship over there and not blowing up budgets and having those ballooning costs and
Mm,
all that. So hopefully they can remain with their independence and also get a new IP out there to make some big money off that in the long term. But yeah, man, that's pretty much the news for today in the world of the video games. Let me see if anything has broke since we have been recording. Um, let's see. No, looking like we're pretty, yeah, nothing else really happening. Wait, what is this? ROG Ally, Xbox.
the
Okay, here we go.
the price got leaked, right?
Yeah. Oh no, never mind. This isn't anything specific. It's just saying that you can go hands-on with the ROG Ally X at Gamescom. Once again, Gamescom, whole lot of Gamescom news. Interesting.
Mm,
It's seeming like Gamescom's going to be a pretty big deal this year.
yeah, absolutely. Because Hollow Knight is there, right? With that rock, is how people are going to be experiencing it, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I will. Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I underestimate the power they have this year because they have got a lot of shit. So maybe this could be that first like big jump, big leap, and then they begin to start running with subsequent years.
Yeah, for Gamescom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it could be, man. I hope so. I'm very hopeful, but. That is going to do it for the show. Once again, shout out Captain Corndog, shout out Sadik. Thank y'all so very much for the support at that shout out tier over on the old Patreons and the YouTube membership program. And yeah, I know it's a lot of damn content hitting y'all's feed, and I apologize for the two back-to-back podcasts. Dropped one yesterday, dropping one today. I felt so bad for Jeffrey. I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do, man. Like, there's just so much shit. Like, well, fuck it. You know what? I'll go ahead and say it now since it's all finished. I never want to talk about this shit. This has been like the plague to me ever since I announced it. And I've delayed it like 400 times. I finished my top 100 games of all time list. It's completed. Everything is 100% completed. I have to edit that final part. It's like a 6 hour long thing. I'm going to spread it up into or split it up into six different parts. Um, but it's like there's just so much shit that I'm yeah, like I have no idea where to place these damn videos, and there's no way to spread them out. Um, and so Mafia: The Old Country spoiler review will be out tomorrow. Collect Beat Repeat will be out Sunday. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And then I think what I'm gonna do with the top 100 is I might take like I was thinking like maybe just take a full week off from content and let those things kind of release like one every 3 days, something like that. And then if there's something real big in the news that's breaking, just record that. And then obviously we'll record this. Um, it's take a break and release 5 pieces of content. That's a break.
I mean, it could always take the place of this, though, right?
Yeah, it
If you
could.
wanted it to give yourself a break, so that that has
If I,
breathing room as well, because they're long types of videos, and then that would allow people to enjoy them over the weekend, and then not have to
Mhm.
scramble on the Friday for the long thing. So we could always do that. Take a little bit of a holiday.
Yeah, I might release them like one a week for 6 weeks or something like that. Like one every Tuesday for 6 weeks, but maybe just not put as much content out following it, give people time. But you know what I've really realized is none of that shit matters. It matters at first, and you don't want to annoy people, and I get that. But in terms of like, you see the subscribers kind of dip immediately whenever you're daily uploading and all that. But it's just once you start kind of getting that ball rolling, it picks up steam, and the new people coming in just dwarf the people that are leaving.
Yeah, because it's
And
what they
so
used to, right? If they don't want, they maybe didn't subscribe to get daily stuff, so they leave, and then the people that are coming in are exposed to that kind of schedule, so therefore they're used to it, and they won't have a problem with it, right?
yeah. Yeah, and it's more so I think what ends up happening, or at least for me, like if I see a channel start uploading a lot that I don't watch often, I'm like, oh, it reminds me to unsubscribe. Like it's like I don't watch this a lot anyway, and then now it's in my feed all the time, so let me unsubscribe from it, which is like I know it sounds so harsh, but it is like I totally fucking get that.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1000% get that. I do not recommend staying subscribed to anything that you're not, if it's flooding your fucking inbox, get that shit the fuck out of there. My shit included. Like it's you can't look at this shit with so much emotion. You know what I mean? It is literally all fucking just X's and O's, ones and twos, crossing T's, dotting I's. Like it's not it's you can't take it so fucking personal or
No,
you ain't gonna last.
no, it's just a form of entertainment. At the end of the day, it's like you put down TV shows, just like you would
Exactly.
put this down. Like it's, I think it's a little bit different for people because obviously of interaction potentially with the person making it. So there is that human element, but yeah.
Hmm. That's the only thing about the daily uploads that fucking sucks is like trying to keep up with those comments. It's anytime a video hits like 1,000 plus, it's you're like, all right, let's yeah, this is gonna yeah, it's gonna take some time to get back with these comments. But it's I've kind of gotten to that point where it's like once it hits a certain threshold, it's like, all right, we're cool on that. Like I want to get back to the people who frequently watch the channel, and I want to make sure that the loyalty is rewarded or whatever the fuck. But at a certain point, you do just have like there's just not enough fucking time in a day to spend scrolling a damn phone. I still try my absolute best to hit back every comment because I do genuinely fucking appreciate it in my soul. But
There will be a point though where that's just that's why they made the heart button, because you will read majority of them comments. You know, even huge
mhm,
channels. That's why you see everybody, a lot of them get the hearts and stuff because they are. But it's just that so that they don't feel that they've been ignored. That's the big thing. That's the whole point of its existence, is to show that there's acknowledgement and you can kind of understand that that's them giving that response. Because it is like if you used to respond to 80 comments every single day, there's like
mhm.
that can go over an hour, potentially even
Oh
two.
yeah.
If they're like lengthy comments and you're trying to hit back to every little bit, yeah, for
Well,
sure.
and that's the thing is like if you reply to something I make and you actually put some like heart into it and you have something that you really want to talk about, like I don't want to just thanks so much for the support. Like that shit, I would rather not respond at all. Like I know that that sounds kind of crazy, but it's like to give you some half-assed, half effort response. It's like that I don't know, dude. You took time out of your day to fucking say something to me. Like I want to say something back to you that's also meaningful. And like we're not having deep fucking conversation, but it's like you're talking about Mafia of the Old Country and something that meant something to you in that game. Yeah, dude. This I felt this way about that, and this is the like I want to actually engage in those conversations. So it's like I don't know, and it's the thing where I you just got to keep in mind it's one person responding to multiple comments opposed to one person writing a comment to one person directly. It's like a very different dynamic on the
Mm,
on each end, you know. But I do understand where it's like, hey, I fucking wrote something that, you know, I dropped this comment and it's fucking I put effort into that and I don't get a damn response back. Like I don't ever really want that to occur. You know what I mean? And of course, like there is a certain like God willing, if this shit ever balloons to some crazy degree, it's like, well, fuck. At that point, you can't do anything. But there's thousands of like there's at that point you just got to throw your hands up, and be like, I would literally be spending every waking moment of my life responding.
yep.
Like I couldn't imagine like a fucking skill up. Imagine
Yeah.
skill up's entire life would be just responding to comments if he responded to all his comments. I get that. But it's still a little channel. I like talking with people. It's um you know, especially the you got any kind of downtime. It's such a good downtime killer. The other day I was getting my oil changed and shit, and what a great way to fucking 20 minutes goes by and you don't even fucking notice it, you know.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I I don't know. Lone, what you got planned? Any big plans for the weekend? Any extravagant? You gonna hit the strip club?
Um, no, I did my GTA runs already, so um, um, co-oping through Final Fantasy VII. We're trying to do that each day, so someone's with me doing that almost, because they want me to finish it, and I have started it twice before and haven't seen it through. So this time I'm being nailed to
Nice.
the floor to finish it. But yeah, very much enjoying that. Like I said, Sword and Fairy. Um, I think Black Myth Wukong comes out soon for Xbox
Mm,
next few weeks. I want to check that out day one. And then yeah, Metal Gear at the end of the month, right?
yep. That's
So
damn man. This month is flying by. We're at what, the 16th today?
15th today, yeah.
15th.
So yeah, I wanted to jump into Mafia, but right now that's fifth on my list of titles to get. Um, with it being so short and sweet, it's the type of thing as well. It's not a problem with the price to ratio kind of thing. It's I'm actually saving that for when I'm, for instance, after probably Final Fantasy VII. That's going to be a 60 odd hour experience, maybe 80. That'll be the perfect time to pick that up after and just have it as a palate cleanser. So I'm not in any rush to grab it. So, yeah.
So good, dude. I think you'll like it a lot. It's you know, it's exactly what you and I talk about all the time, where it's like, man, why the fuck do these games got to be so fat? Like, cut that fucking fat out. There is no need for all the filler, and it is like zero filler, all substance. I think you'll dig it a lot when you get
Yeah.
around to it. But yeah, I'm pumped for Metal Gear Solid 3, dude.
Mm.
I don't know. I've been having this kind of just I've been like watching videos on old Metal Gear games and just like looking at different kind of clips of, you know, some of the most memorable moments. Like I was watching the other night I watched the full Psycho Mantis boss fight because I made a video and I talked about it a little bit and I was like, damn, just I kind of got nostalgic for it. I wanted to
Mm.
just watch everything play out after that and I was like, you just forget how fucking iconic a lot of that was in those, because it's not like it's the weird thing, right? Like they don't play all that well, the old Metal Gear games, but it's just really, really intelligently designed to make a lot of these moments feel special, which is, you know, we talk about that as well, the restraint, doing as much as you can with as little as the with what you have to work with.
Yeah.
Like you know,
Well,
not going above and beyond, but what you have to work with, making the best of it.
it's usually when we're talking about things that like to mildly go back to it, the things of saying like that where it doesn't age well, it's not got anything to do with the narrative. It's got not anything to do with
No.
the characters or the story. It's just the gameplay. 9 times out of
Yeah.
10, it's just from getting to them points is what ages poorly. Because Metal
Yeah.
Gear's story stood the test of time. Even Final Fantasy VII, like what I'm going through now, like there's a good amount of stuff there, like, and it's really masterfully crafted because it's also left certain stuff up to the imagination as well, which is what made them
Mhm.
games so special. Is that a lot like it gives you these little crumbs and it gives you the foundation that it's built for you, and then you fill in the gaps and stuff like that. Um, and even just something like us, like with GTA San Andreas, like some of them set pieces, man, and some of them story beats and character interactions that you have. Like, yeah, the shooting's rough,
Right.
but you tolerate it because it's like, man, I'm getting like some good eating with some of these like interactions with like Tenpenny and stuff like that, like some cool ass moments.
Yeah, that 10 penny shit is crazy, man. Samuel L. Jackson, fucking,
Mm,
the Rodney King protests and the whole, like, what a wild representation of, early 90s LA. And just, yeah, that game, that was really the first one where they started really, really cooking narratively
yeah,
with San Andreas.
yeah. To give like, because I'm obviously planning on doing a deep dive discussion on it, but it's free Vice City San Andreas is what I played through, and it's the thing of like they are genuine sequels because they built off of each other and genuinely improved every single time. Because
Mhm.
like there's certain things in Vice City where like they were 50% of the way there with San Andreas. The narrative had some beats that were good, but it's the type of thing of like this isn't the finished vision. Like you can see that something isn't. You have the jigsaw pieces, but there are missing pieces. Like you can see that there's a narrative there much more so than you can with Free. But yeah, with San Andreas, it's much more complete.
100%. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It maybe we're a year away from the next one, And like I still that sounds crazy in my head, thinking like, yeah, we're less than a year away. I don't think so. Like I don't think so. I think we're still looking at maybe like early 2027, late 2026. But I don't know.
It's the thing. I might like having played through them free tiny percentage, a bit more anticipated and excited for it. I'm still in that phase of like I don't understand. I can't. They can't keep getting away with it almost thing of like surely they can't set like the new boundary, the new level, like what they did with Red Dead 2 and stuff like that. Like surely that has to be their ceiling. How can you craft a greater like cinematic narrative masterpiece than that? There's not like to me it's of that level of third person and open world and everything. Like yeah, I know people say it's obviously slow and stuff in elements, but it's going to be something that will stand the test of time. Like there'll probably be people playing it 60 years from now and be like, wow, that is special.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think because they totally changed the game with Grand Theft Auto 3. That's probably the most influential game of my lifetime. Like, well, I guess Shenmue is up there, GTA 3 is up there, Halo is up there, RE4, but it's in that camp, right? Of like top 5 most influential games of my lifetime. And then San Andreas, probably the most ambitious game of my lifetime. And then I think that you probably go to Red Dead 2 as like, if it's not San Andreas, then it's Red Dead 2. Baldur's Gate 3 probably up there for sure as well. But like, it is just crazy that they do keep kind of like, and then even with Grand Theft Auto 5, I know it's not necessarily in our wheelhouse, but we talk about it with the online shit.
Mm.
Like, that was crazy
I mean,
innovative
I
as
played
well.
the hell
Like,
out of it in the early years.
oh, really?
Back when I was in the yeah, I got to like level 100.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
it's something that it began to lose its luster because it's the type of thing of like with me, I think you can gather that by now. I like finality. I don't. I want to see an
Same.
ending. Like I don't need to know that something. It's why I'm kind of a little bit like I'm excited to go check out Helldivers 2. Like that's also a one that's coming out soon. Really excited to experience that. But I know that these types of experiences eventually lose their luster on me because it's like I just want to have like finality, man. Like I don't want to keep doing the same stuff over and over again. If I want to do
Yeah.
that, I want to have a narrative tied to it. And I think maybe that's where Helldivers could probably get me because they seem to have their kind of own narrative thing, and it's like an ever evolving universe almost with what they do with their events and stuff. So that's kind of cool. But that's like what kept me from like got to GTA, got all the stuff that was like big at the time. And it was just like, well, what do you expect me to do? Just keep accruing money for the next update? Like, it's just not. It's not for me. So more so excited, obviously, for that single player for GTA 6,
For
but
sure.
I'm very skeptical at the same time. It's like, can you get away with it? Can you do it again? Can you knock it out of the ballpark? Probably because it's you guys,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that it'll be excellent. The only thing I wonder, my only real like skeptical kind of questioning begins with how online is integrated into the single player. And like, are we talking about a 15-hour just kind of throwaway single player thing because they want to put all of their time, attention, and resources into online because they make all their money from the online? Um, I wonder about that. That's the only thing. I think it'll be a great narrative. I think it will be like on par with a Red Dead 2. Um,
I I have something to pick your mind with them because when you say that, when you think back to say San Andreas, like how long would you have said that took you to like finish?
so I played it last year. Probably I can actually pull it up. I think it was like 25, 30 hours.
Because for me it ran just over like 13, 14 hours because I'm just focusing on the story stuff. And that's the thing of like
Okay.
that's what we also need to keep in mind because there's people who blitzed through all of these Rockstar games very quickly because if you just focus on the and it's how much they can integrate that side stuff in as well. Because I didn't really care
Hmm.
to interact with any of that, like going to the gym and stuff like that. Oh, it's cool that that's in the game. I just I'm definitely much more of a narrative driven person, stuff like that. Because like one of my most loved series of all times is Yakuza. I don't do any of the side stuff in Yakuza either. I'm not
Oh
interested in
wow.
that. It's just I want to see that story through with if it's Kiryu, if it's whoever. Um, that's just what interests me. So I blitz through them a lot quicker. So I think with you getting it in your hands, it's going to be that thing where it's going to like shock you back into. You're probably going to take your time with that because it's going to be that thing of
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, special like question mark. Ooh, like these little Easter eggs and all that, and it will end up racking up. Like even if the narrative
Mm.
itself is like even 15 hours, you could probably end up squeezing 80 out of the game because of how nauseatingly deep every single aspect of that game is around it.
Hmm. Yeah, I had this conversation in the Jesus, burp. Had this conversation in the comments about Mafia of the Old Country with people saying like they're not going to pay $50 for it because it's only 10 hours. And it's like, a part of me is like, I don't give a fuck what anybody does with their money. A part of me is kind of like sad to see stuff like that where it's damn, it does reaffirm why Assassin's Creed is as bloated as it is. And like,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like there's a player base out there who wants more but not better. And that's fine. But it's kind of the weird thing with Grand Theft Auto where it's like more and better. It's like more content than any other open world game, better content than any other open world game, Red Dead as well. It's like, motherfucker, man, how in the hell is this possible? And like,
Decade-long development.
that's right,
I don't. It's,
right.
it's a little bit blown out of that. It's not as dire as people. I think they said that they began like serious development after Red Dead or something.
Yeah.
2 so it is a little bit blown out of proportion. But yeah, it's just they're just very very good at what they do. And I
Hmm.
think the masterful thing as well is that you can play the games to the max and get worth out of it and get a lot out of it. Or you can do like with what I did with GTA San Andreas, where it's just mainlining stuff, and I feel just as much completeness out of that as somebody who probably did all the other stuff. That's a complete package to me. It's so well crafted and so well done that I didn't feel like I was really missing out on not doing BMX challenges or not doing all the airplane school things and stuff like that, or doing some of the gang stuff, or going to the gym, tattoo parlors,
Dating, full
swimming.
on arcades,
Yep,
like fuck.
going into his
That's
house and sitting down on the console and playing the knockoff of like Space, whatever it is.
invaders,
Yeah.
yeah. You had full blown home
Yep.
invasion, fucking like, dude,
Burglaries.
that
Yep.
That game was nuts. That game doesn't make sense to have existed. Like it's kind of
In
it's like just
2004,
sitting.
right, as well. Like
Yeah.
that's outrageous, man. Like I know I gave Bully the props and the tip of the hat,
Well, you're just saying gameplay.
but like everything across the board because like that it feels better to play Bully, of course. Like
Yeah.
gameplay wise, it's a lot more polished up, but it also, yeah, the depth that San Andreas has for a 2004 game is criminal. It shouldn't have been what it was. That feels like what GTA 4 probably should have been almost. But
It's deeper than GTA
no,
4 and Red
exactly.
Dead 2.
Because they moved out of that, they shifted their priorities to then focus on realism,
Mm,
which, yeah, I GTA 4 hasn't aged particularly well. If in my
God, no.
opinion, because what I was gonna actually say this in the video as well, so there's a little bit sneak peek. I think it is more in line with like a Vice City than San Andreas for me personally, in the way that it's aged, and when I compartmentalize it in my brain, because it's just they were fixated on like the animation of everything, and they're like making sure that you get him drunk in one mission, so we can show you fully of like ragdoll physics and everything. The gunplay is not aged particularly well in
Yeah.
GTA 4, and just the ambition is definitely still there. There's definitely stuff that they did really well, but I don't know. It's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like I think to what you were talking about with like the open world shenanigans. And that's kind of where I'm so curious because I don't even necessarily care so much about the mini games and shit. I just want to walk around and like look at people living their lives. And I want to go and lift weights and eat burgers and go swimming or like, are we going to be able to surf? Are we going to be playing beach volleyball since it's in Florida? Like, is this the new fucking like, what's going to be the new hotness? Are you going to be playing full 5-on-5 pickup basketball games at the park? Is that going to be some online integration where
That's
you have all
actually
your creative players?
that's actually a good point because people forget you can play tennis in GTA 5.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Like you think about some of the woodland areas. Are we going to have like paintball competitions in the woodland areas? Like, maybe like there's some full-blown Metal Gear Solid 3 shit where whenever it's only for paintball, you go out and paintball and you're decking yourself in the fucking mud and like because you see that there's full-blown mudding and stuff. Like you have your 18 wheelers and they're kicking up dirt and mud's flying all over the place and like so they already have the systems of mud attaching to the cars if you're in the mudded areas and then I don't know. It's just I think that's the fun thing when talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 is like if you can think it, they can do it. It's just if they're going to or not. That's the question. Like it's the thing whenever we start talking about like Insomniac's Wolverine. I know what that's going to be. Like we get it. It's going to be a lot like Spider-Man except you don't fucking swing webs. And like that's fine. I can't wait to play it. But there's no room for that level of like crazy fucking anticipation of like what could it be? But with this it's like it could have anything. They have the money to make anything happen. They have the resources and talent to make anything happen. It's just like what are they going to prioritize? And I think that might be where the expectation, like, could it get too high to a point where there's no chance that they meet our expectations? Like, maybe, but that's why you don't fucking take 10 years to release the next game. You got our people are talking about it's $1 billion development cycle and,
Mm,
10 years. And while some of these things probably aren't true, it's like, yeah, expectations are a motherfucker, man.
yeah, obviously with GTA 5 as well being it's still tops charts a lot, still up there, still clinging on and stuff like that. I do have one question to close it out with. How
Yeah.
much of an echo? Because you think of like with like Elden Ring, for instance, that lingered for most of the year and then kind of died down a little bit. And you see these like Baldur's Gate 3 kind of lingered and then it dies down. How long do you think that like further of where it's like at its peak will last? Do you think it's going to be similar to them? Is this just like what entertainment is now with where everybody's so terminally online that even if it is something that big of a splash, there'll always be something that will wave it over it eventually, like fairly short, like 6 to 8 months? Or do you think this is going to be the type of thing that it's just going to be like because you have like when Elden Ring came out and it was just dominating not just like discussions and stuff, but YouTube, people showing clips and stuff like that, and it dominates all of Twitter and everything, and it's just all that related. Do you think that that could push into the new year, into the next year, and stuff like that? Does it have enough in it?
So you know how Elden Ring like came out absolutely dominated, and then Erd Tree came out, and like maybe 30% of the people who bought the base game bought Erd Tree. This is going to be the inverse, where the single player comes out and, 30, 40 million people buy that, but then hundreds of millions of people are going to hop into the online. So I think that's going to be the thing that keeps the conversation going, because it's like the opposite of Erd Tree, where like, or Night Rain, where less people are jumping into those and more people are focused on the single player and focused on, well, not single, but you know what I mean, focused on the base game. More people actually play Grand Theft Auto for the online
Mm-hmm.
now than the story. So it's like when that releases, that's going to be when the real fucking, like, you're going to see all the viral moments taking place, all the shenanigans. I mean, don't get me wrong, like GTA 6 will be I mean, it'll be bigger than like, it'll dominate conversation more than like Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, all that stuff probably combined, just with the single player. But I think that really whenever you see the actual impact is whenever that online officially launches. But I could see like the last time I remember conversation being like totally dominated by just one game, like just one individual game, was Breath of the Wild in 2017. I remember I could not fucking escape that. And I remember that because I had no interest in it.
Mm.
And I was
No, that's
like,
what I mean. That
motherfucker.
kind of thing where it breaks into that like new, like obviously it's a massive, massive game. It appeals to millions and millions of people, but that kind of thing of where it goes bashing on people's doors that have no interest in it, and you can't escape it. You know. So there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's kind of the territory. I mean, it'll obviously, once again, it'll be much bigger than Breath of the Wild as well. It's the only thing you can compare it to is fucking like Minecraft and GTA 5. You know what I mean? Like it's in this weird territory, but it's like, if Minecraft is unavoidable as well if you're in the demographic of that range. You know what I mean? Like I remember going through school when I was whatever 13, 14 when it came out, and people were on their fucking laptops just playing
Mm.
Minecraft like maniacs. And so like, but the thing about GTA is that it's so weird that it appeals to every layer of person who plays game. You know, the kids want it because it's the new cool fucking edgy thing. Adults are playing it because they've played GTA forever. It's the
So they can
probably
beat
going to
up
be one of
kids,
the
of course.
yeah, it's just yeah, I think it's going, but once again, dude, Cyberpunk was poised to be that game.
Yep.
Cyberpunk was poised to be Elden Ring. It was poised to be Breath of the Wild. It was poised to be Baldur's Gate. It was not that. It never got to that point. And you only get one chance at a first impression. And if you don't launch out the gate hot as a motherfucker, listen, Cyberpunk is massive. Higher player count than Baldur's Gate 3, stuff like that. I get it. But you can't tell me Cyberpunk had a more like impactful launch than
No,
Baldur's
its
Gate 3.
reception was tarnished compared to
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think in kind of the cultural impact of GTA 6?
I have a caveat, which I don't like that I have to mention this, but it's unavoidable. If they implement that age verification thing, that's going to be a massive blow to the game. Because, like you said, for the kids and stuff like that, I
That's
think
just on PC, right?
no, they're talking about doing that on console as well.
Oh,
Eventually,
Jesus
like
Christ.
it's going everywhere. Like it's if like I said, that's obviously a ball that's still rolling and it's not settled, and obviously it comes out supposedly next year. So maybe
Hmm.
stuff has happened then. If nothing changes on that front and it's just a normal release like all the others have been, and yeah, you don't need that kind of crap. Yeah, I see this because you took my point perfectly. It's the type of thing of like I don't know if they've confirmed this, so I won't be like yeah I predict in case it is already confirmed, but I predict it'll be a staggered release like they did with Red Dead, like they did with GTA 5. It's the type of thing where they want people in that single player building it up, and then they're just perfect. Everything that they did. The moment it's like, oh, it went down the hype level 0.1%. All right, online launch, boom. And so like, yeah, I could see it just dominating for probably north of a year of just social media, just constantly. Even if it begins to start to slip behind things, it will always just be there. Something's pushing inside of it and stuff like that. Yeah, it's going to be huge,
What do you think? Like,
inescapable.
what do you have a comparison point that you can think? Because that's the thing I struggle with is like, what
So
is the comparison point? Like in game, I guess, Avengers, but it's going to be
I,
way bigger than that
was
too. I
gonna I
don't
was gonna
know.
say like even with that being as big as it was, like this is people just
The
forget
World Cup,
people.
NBA
Oh god,
Finals, NFL, Super Bowl, like, like what? I don't know.
that's the thing that the Super Bowl it doesn't linger. It's the type of thing where it blows up for like a weekend. It may linger a little bit longer in the States, but like it doesn't linger everywhere. Like that, it's almost unfathomable. Because this, why I was like asking you that is because I didn't feel that way with Red Dead 2. It came out and it kind of was strong, and people were extremely excited, but it didn't seem to have the legs that you'd have expected of that being Rockstar's next big thing after GTA 5 kind of thing. Even though I understand it's, it appeals less than to the people of GTA and stuff like that. It's just I don't know. It was kind of a weird like that felt like that was a little bit lackluster of a reception. I expected a bit more. But for my lifetime, I mean, Skyrim dominated for a very long time. People kind of forget like the impact that that kind of had. You know,
Yeah, they do.
like that genuinely did dominate because there was workplace discussions. People were giving anecdotes over of like, yeah, water cooler discussions of like people who never even touched games and stuff like that. And like The Last of Us is another one that's kind of like a little bit under the radar of how much impact that game had.
Yeah. I don't think people understand that Sky, like what you're talking about, Skyrim, dude. Skyrim's probably the biggest RPG since. Like, I don't think there's been anything that's even come close to that since Skyrim. Has there been anything?
It's difficult because it's comparative, isn't it? Because I think there was a bigger, louder voice with, say, like Baldur's Gate 3, but that's because social media has grown
Right, right,
exponentially
right.
since then. If Skyrim in that state released, it would have had probably equal parts to that if it was in that same kind of thing. And that just shows the power of that game. That it dominated
Yeah.
that level of discussion when social media was so in its infancy compared to what it is now.
Yeah, fucking crazy, man. How just like I'm just looking at player charts for this. There's 22,000 people in Skyrim
You
right
know,
now.
some games like yeah, all time peak of 22,000, and they're like it's yeah, crazy man. I'll also give
Bro,
a tip of the hat while we're here talking about player counts. Battlefield 5's beta, 500,000. Kudos.
yeah.
I know
Yep.
that
Yep.
that's there's a lot of people
Free.
getting a little bit carried away. That's
It's a
I
Call of Duty killer.
Yeah, it's like you say that every time. So let's temper expectations for one and for two. That's available like free to everybody. There's a big
Yeah,
difference. Like see what happens when it's the 1.0 day one release. You know, if they can even
exactly.
hit half of them numbers, that's massive for them. That's a really, really big accomplishment. Um, I Yeah, looks good though.
Yeah. Oh, it does. It does. It looks very, very good. And like it's not going to be a Call of Duty killer. That people got to quit with those comparisons. You're not going to end favorably. And if you want to,
There's
I'm not
never
even listen.
there's never been that phrase has never worked out for anything.
No.
Skyrim killer. It's never no, that's never worked and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's so funny, man. But
It's
it is it's the thing where like I see I don't even really want to rain on the parade too much
oh
because
no,
it does seem like
they
genuinely
deserve
positive.
yeah, they deserve a good strong release title. It's been I don't even think I could name it because even Battlefield 4 was rocky. Battlefield 3 was rocky. Like it's they just need to. I hope they it's a stable launch for them
Yeah,
and just build off of that. It it can't be buggy, man. It really can't. First impressions.
totally. Yeah. Well, dude, Loon, I appreciate you for taking some time and shooting the shit, talking the video games with me, my friend. Um, yeah. As soon as you get that GTA retrospective out, obviously we'll plug the shit out of that here. I'll make a community post for it. We'll obviously plug it on the podcast. I'll plug it in some standalone videos, get as many eyeballs on that as possible. But until then, do you have anything you need to plug? Anything you want to shout out? Anything like that?
No, obviously we have the Discord. Well, I have the Discord. There's plenty of members from the channel in there, so feel free to pop me a message. It's a little bit difficult to do that, obviously, because I can't plug back the link. So if people do want that, maybe head over to my channel and pop a comment there instead, because that's easier instead of having to pester Brandon. But yeah, other than that, it's the thing is as well with that retrospective. I'm in the process now. All the games have been recorded. I'm kind of going back through the footage to make sure, like, right, make sure I'm pinpointing everything I want to get. And I haven't done it yet, so I don't know how long scripts are meant to be. Because how many words would you? I wouldn't even be able to begin. I don't know how many words a script should be of like a for a retros because I'm at 8,000.
Oh, Jesus
Like
Christ.
I have so much to say, and it's like I don't know like when I'm reading this how fast I'm gonna get through this. Like I haven't done that yet, so there's gonna be probably yeah. Like that's why I gave myself a big long window. Because if I start reading it and it's like you've done 2,000 words in an hour and a half, it's like okay, well we need to chop some stuff up and make some changes.
Yeah. I honestly, dude, I really couldn't even sit here and give you any advice on that front other than like editing advice and shit like that. But in terms of word count, in terms of like, I don't really even know. I don't watch much essay related
Mm.
content. I see them pop up because like that is the one thing I will say is it seems like a pretty good field to attempt to make a splash in because like I that's one of the only spaces I see small channels actually take off anymore. Um, small channels trying to get their foot under them doing like kind of d- d- almost anything else that doesn't really seem to work too well. So I think it is smart, very, very smart to attempt that. I just wouldn't even know where to begin, man. Like
Mm.
I'm not a writer. I'm not a fucking I can barely fucking read. I'm damn near illiterate.
Yeah,
Um,
because I'm the
so I
opposite.
d-
Like I have my least favorite part is doing the video stuff, editing as well. I don't really have. It's not interest. It's not that as like a word. It's just I don't have that motivation kind of thing.
mhm.
Almost of like I want to do it. Like I just love writing. It's always been a passion.
Well, that's awesome then because like I do not at all, and like there's no way I could do those essay style. I've thought about it, believe me. When I see those fucking views and shit for, uh, you know, like covering a game from 10 years ago, it's like, motherfucker, this channel with 70 subscribers just got 400,000 views and like now they're blowing up. I was like, golly, I need to get my ass in gear. But if you have that ability to write and like it comes natural to you, and are you good at like reading aloud?
uh, I believe so. I read plenty of books. I think I could. Yeah, I did public reading in school and stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that I would assume that would be I guess like you said the editing would be maybe one of the only
That's the
kind of
thing of
hurdles
like
then.
when I roll it out. That's the thing I'm braced for. Is if there's going to be any like heavy critique, it'll probably be that because it'd be like I don't know what the
Mm,
fuck that like. There's a clip. That's what I'm talking
yeah.
about. Hopefully, that's good enough for people. Um, but yeah, it's the thing of like because don't think we spoke about it on camera. I think we spoke about it off camera. It's just the thing of like, just it's probably gonna suck. I'm well aware of that kind of thing, and you just find your footing. You just build off of it. You just the more you do it, the more you're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is my style. Oh, that I get that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, dude, any thumbnail you need me to make, man, I will happily make that for you and promote the shit out of it. I think it's going to be good. I think that just your level of knowledge in general about games, like, yeah, you need a spot to really try to uh try to fucking, get that out there. And obviously we talk video games here, but I think that that specific field, the video game essay format, like I don't know. I think that's going to do really well for you. And we'll try to push it to the moon, man. But
Hopefully.
yeah, and it's you got to also keep in mind that like every first thing is going to fucking suck
Mm.
regardless. Like whenever I first did easygoing gaming, my first videos were all like, lists and like I was doing the thing, reading from it, and then like grabbing like, and dude, I if I thank God that channel has been completely deleted, wiped from the face of the earth, because if I had to go back and watch that shit, I would have a gun in my mouth within minutes. It was horrendous, dude. I remember like while, having easygoing gaming, um like towards the end of it, I would like go back and watch the old videos just to see, every now and then. And I would want to vomit when I was watching those things because it's like you don't have your voice at all. But that
Mm.
is the thing. Like I had never did any kind of content creation whatsoever when I first started it. And that is the cool thing about you have at least been, I mean, we've made like fucking 100 videos together. You know what I mean? We've been doing this shit a while. You at least, yeah, and you have a great laptop, you got this great microphone, you got like at least I was literally recording into my phone, like literally just talking into my phone and then splicing that over. So a lot of that will help just in terms of viewers being like, okay, he's at least taking it seriously.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely blessed for that.
Fuck
And
yeah.
hopefully, like you said, we can get that ball rolling, and whatever whatever climbing I get is obviously shared, and vice versa. It's just all propping each other up.
Absolutely.
Success for
Yep.
everybody, baby.
And we'll plug the shit out of that, man. And that's that's kind of always been what I like. I really hope that that somehow one day ends up clicking where we're all doing well with our own thing, and then like we can parlay that into helping each other succeed. And yeah, so hopefully that will,
And we'll
you
get
know,
big enough, and then we can buy the E3 license.
oh, dude.
You can-
Yeah, I've talked about it a million times. My big fucking dream is I want to just create like an in-person, like I talked about with Game Informer. I just want to make that like ultimate dream is I just want to recreate that somehow. Like somehow just find a way to fucking, you know, have a in-person like actual media site.
Hmm.
Not a site per se, not an online like, you
Like
go
a
to some fucking
platform kind of
website.
esque thing of just
Yeah,
having loads of different things going.
absolutely. Yeah, that's always been the dream. I like working with people, but at the same time, you know, you, uh, I understand. Like there's so much fucking competition in this space that it's like just try to figure out something for like just try to carve a small little piece of the internet out for yourself and don't think too much bigger than that until it's actually feasible. So
Yep.
that is the plan going forward. And Loon, obviously, once again, your channel will be linked in the description for anybody that wants to go ahead and pre-subscribe on over there. Get ready for the big drop when that releases, but no worries, that will be absolutely plugged. You won't miss it when it happens. So stick around, stay tuned, guys, and yeah, a lot of shit on the way. Apologies for so much damn content hitting your algorithms, but hey, I guess that's the point of this game. It's
Spoiled
just
for choice.
throwing.
You get to pick and choose what you want instead of being stuck with a video for 3 days that you don't like. There you go. Positives.
Yeah, absolutely. Throw as much shit at the wall and hopefully something sticks. But appreciate you guys for stopping by. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope y'all have a really good weekend. And yeah, man, have a good one. Take it easy. Goodbye.
See you later.